The snow out past the door is near knee-deep and still coming, and the wind has that thin whistle to it that means the cold is settling in for the long haul. I have got a pot on the fire, and the water in it is clear as glass, clean as anything a man could hope to drink. It came off a spring that runs even in the hard months, tucked under a shelf of granite up the ridge behind me. The fire is snapping and throwing sparks, and the light of it slides up the log walls like something alive. Outside, the dark is pressing its face against the window, the way a cold thing does when it wants in. And I am sitting here thinking about a man I will tell you about, who had a full canteen and died just the same. Now, I have been drinking that spring water for 3 days running, good and clean and cold, and by every rule I was ever taught, it should have kept me right. But it did not keep me right. I have felt myself going hollow in a way that water alone was never going to fix. A slow draining down, like a lamp burning off the last of its oil. My hands started to shake by the second afternoon, and my head went light as a dry gourd. That is the thing about the clean and the clear. It looks like the answer, sitting right there in the pot, and it lies to you every step of the way. I am going to tell you something that is going to sound flat backward, so let me just say it plain. This one ordinary thing, this simple, honest habit, has killed more good men out in the country than the bear ever did. It has killed more than the fall from the ledge, more than the river that opens under a man in the thaw. It has killed more settlers than starvation ever managed on its own. Folks picture the wilderness taking a man with claws and teeth and a hard black river, but more often it took him with a clear, cold drink of water. I know how backward that sounds, so stay with me. Water will not fill you the way a body needs filling. It will not warm you when the night comes down hard and mean. It will not hold you up through the long, dark hours when the cold is testing every seam of your shelter. It will keep you upright a while, sure, and it will keep the worst of the thirst off your tongue. But that is the whole of the trick, because it hands you the feeling of being saved while it walks you closer to the edge. It makes a promise it has got no way to keep. Nobody teaches this anymore. Nobody sits a young man down and warns him. It got plain forgotten, the way a trail grows over when nobody walks it. And there are folks who do just fine by you never learning it. Folks who would rather sell you the clean, easy answer than the hard, true one. I will get to them. Keep them in the back of your mind for now. Here is the strange part, and it is the part that ought to make you sit up straight. The thing that would have saved that man cost him nothing at all. It was already in his hands, or near enough. It is the very part that most folks scrape off into the dirt without a second thought. It is the part they throw in the fire, or leave for the birds, or pour out on the ground because it turns their stomach to look at. Men have died with the cure sitting an arm's length away, tossed aside as garbage. They walked right past their own salvation. And I will name it for you, but not yet. Keep listening, because once you see this, you will never look at a clean drink of water the same way again. It will change the way you look at your own pack. It will change what you keep and what you throw. Now let me tell you who I am so you know these are not just words. I ran a trap line for the better part of 30 winters, up where the country does not much care whether you live. My nearest neighbor was 2 days walk off and a frozen river between us that I did not trust in the shoulder months. I have wintered alone more times than I can rightly count, with nothing but a stove and a stack of wood and whatever I could take off the land. I have gone nights with the traps empty and my belly the same. I have sat in the dark listening to the cold work at the cabin like a thing trying every door. This kind of knowing does not stick from being told. It only ever sticks by needing it badly enough that your life leans on it. The men who taught me did not get it out of any book. They were old when I was young, and they had hands like split leather. They learned it the hard way, in the only school the country keeps. Every one of them had a story that ended with a hole dug in the half-frozen ground. They buried friends over this very thing. When a man has carried a partner's body out of the timber because of a mistake this plain, he does not forget the lesson, and he does not let you forget it either. That is where this comes from. Here is the thing most folks have got flat backward today. They believe that if you have got water, you are all right. They picture the settler in trouble, and they picture him thirsty, cracked lips and a dry throat, crawling for a creek. And so the whole notion of safety gets built around the drink. A man looks at a running stream, clear over the stones, cold and sweet, and something in him unclenches. He thinks, I will not die here, 'cause look at all that water. He fills his belly with it, and he feels the ease come over him. He sees a full canteen the way another man sees a full meat pole, like proof he has beaten the country. That clear stream looks like life itself running by. It is one of the prettiest lies the wilderness ever told. Now hold on to this next part, because it is the whole spine of the story. I want you to carry it with you all the way through. A man can have all the clean water he can drink, more than he could ever get down, a whole cold stream of it running past his boots, and that same man can die with his gut sloshing full. Die of something that walks hand in hand with thirst. Die slow and confused and desperate, right there beside all that water. It sounds like a plain impossibility. A man drowning in plenty and dying of want at the same time. I am going to show you exactly how that happens, and exactly why. But not yet. Just keep it in the back of your mind. That image of a man dying of thirst with a full belly of water. Come back to it when I tell you to. To understand it, you have got to understand that danger in the country almost never comes from one thing alone. It comes from two things meeting, the way flint and steel make a spark that neither one carries on its own. It is the season and the animal. It is the ground and the water. It is the cold and the sweat on your back. Take late winter, what the old hands called the killing time. By then the country has been at you for months. The fat you carried into the cold is long gone, burned up keeping you warm through the deep dark of the year. The game has gone lean and scarce and wary, and what you catch has hardly a trace of anything rich left on it. The animal is starving too, and a starving animal is a poor larder. So the man is running on empty, and the only thing the country hands him in plenty is water and lean meat. And lean meat and water together, in the killing time, is a trap with iron jaws. It is those two forces meeting that does the work. Now here is the cruel logic of it, and it is cruel in a way the country seems almost to design on purpose. The easiest thing to get is the deadliest thing to lean on. Water is everywhere, in the snow, in the springs, in the ice you can melt over the fire. Lean meat, when you can get it, comes off a rabbit or a starved deer or a squirrel with nothing on its bones. So the desperate man does the most natural thing in the world. He drinks his fill, 'cause his body is crying for it. And he eats what lean flesh he can get, 'cause eating feels like living. Every instinct he has got tells him he is doing right. He is filling his belly. He is quenching his thirst. He is doing the very things a man does to stay alive. It feels like survival in every bite and every swallow. And that is the horror of it. 'Cause the more of it he does, the deeper the hole gets under him. He is digging his own grave, with the very actions that feel like climbing out of it. The rabbit that fills his pot in the morning is helping to kill him by night. The stream that eases his throat is loading his blood with trouble. He cannot see it, 'cause nothing about it feels wrong. It feels like the most right thing a starving man ever did. Now here is where most folks go wrong, so lean in close, because if this next piece does not land, nothing else I tell you will keep you alive. Folks believe that meat is meat. They believe that a full belly is a safe belly. They believe that if a thing is lean and clean, it must be good for you. And every one of those is only half a truth, which out here is the same as a whole lie. Lean meat by itself is like a key with no teeth cut into it, the right shape to fit the lock, and not a thing behind it to turn the works. It is a fire laid perfect with no draft under it, all the makings of heat and no way to catch. You can eat lean meat till your jaw aches and your belly is tight as a drum, and your body will still be screaming for something that plate cannot give it. The old hands had a hard saying for it, that a man could eat himself to death on rabbit. They watched it happen, a man growing weaker at every meal, eating more and more of a thing that was starving him faster the more he ate. That is not a full belly. That is a betrayal with gravy on it. The people who lived on this land 1,000 winters running knew better, and they did not know it from being clever. They knew it in the blood, passed down mother to child, hunter to boy. So far back, nobody could say where it started. They almost never died this way, because they did the opposite of the newcomer by pure instinct. When they took an animal, the lean muscle was not the prize to them. They went for the parts the newcomer's stomach turned at. They took the fat first, and the marrow, and the soft, rich organs. And they fed those to the ones who needed strength most, to the hunters and the children and the nursing mothers. They rendered the fat and they drank it. They cracked the bones and sucked out what was inside. They understood in their bones that the animal was a whole thing, and that the strength was not in the parts that looked like a good clean steak. It was in the parts that looked like something to throw away. The newcomers watched them eat and thought them backward and dirty. Then the newcomers took the muscle, the good red meat, the part that looked civilized, and they threw the rest to the dogs. And the newcomers died and could not understand why, sitting there with their bellies full of the wrong thing. They copied the doing and skipped the knowing. That gap is where the country buried so many of them. I am going to hand you the fix now, but I am going to hand it to you in layers, the same way it was handed to me, across a fire, by men who had earned it the hard way. If I dumped the whole of it on you in one breath, it would run through you like water through a sieve, and you would not keep a drop. So take it a piece at a time, and let each piece settle. The first layer is the one that turns your whole head around, because it tells you that the thing you were chasing was never the thing that saves you. You were chasing the lean red meat, the clean muscle, the part that looks like food is supposed to look. And that part is the poorest fuel on the animal. The fat is the fuel, and the lean is the lie. Say it over to yourself. The fat is the fuel, and the lean is the lie. In the deep cold, fat is the thing that stands between you and the dark, and the pretty red muscle you were so proud to pack out is near enough to empty calories with a body's worth of work to burn just to get rid of it. The second layer is the one almost every soul alive today has got backward, and it comes wrapped in a feeling I want you to notice, because that feeling is the whole trick. It is the feeling of disgust. When I say the treasure is in the fat and the marrow and the organs, in the soft gray liver and the yellow marrow and the greasy sheets of tallow off the back and the gut, something in a modern man recoils. It seems unclean to him. It seems like the leavings, the offal, the stuff a decent person does not eat. He has been taught his whole life to prize the lean and shun the fat, to see the rich parts as low and the muscle as fine. And here is the thing you have got to understand. That disgust is exactly why the treasure is still lying there for you to take. Because everybody feels it. Everybody turns away. Everybody throws that part in the dirt. The single richest, most life-saving part of the whole animal gets scraped off and abandoned every single day, because it does not suit a squeamish stomach. The country hides its best medicine in the one place polite folks refuse to look. Your revulsion is the lock, and getting past it is the key. The old hands did not have that revulsion, and it is a good part of why they lived. Now the third layer is the one for your hands, because all the knowing in the world is worthless if you cannot do it out there with cold fingers and failing light. When you take an animal in the lean season, you go for the fat before anything else, what little there is of it, and you do not waste a scrap. You strip the fat off the back and the belly and from around the gut, and you set it in your pot over a low, steady fire. You let it melt down slow, and you keep it from scorching, stirring it easy with a stick worn smooth for the purpose. As it renders, you will see a film of bright gold come rising and pooling across the top of the pot, clean and rich and warm looking. And that gold is more life to you than a whole pole of red meat. You skim it, and you save it in whatever you have got, and it will keep in the cold like it was made to. Then you take the long bones and you smash them. Crack them open on a flat rock with the back of a hatchet, and you dig out the marrow, soft and pink and rich, and that goes in too. You take the liver and the kidneys and the heart, and you do not throw them to the fire. You eat them, because they carry what the muscle does not. You boil the bones long and slow till the water goes to broth and there is grease shining on the top, and you drink that grease down warm. It is close work, and it is bloody, and it takes time you would rather spend by the fire. But understand this, our own ancient kin were doing every bit of it further back than you can rightly picture. Long before anyone scratched a single word onto anything, men were cracking bones for the marrow and rendering fat over coals. This is not some clever new notion. It is the oldest eating there is. Now the fourth layer is the one nobody sees coming, and it sounds like madness right up until it clicks into place. When you cannot get the fat, when the animals are all lean and there is no richness to be found anywhere, the answer is not to eat more. The answer is to eat less. I will say that again, because everything in your gut is going to fight it. When all you have got is lean meat, you eat less of it, not more. It runs dead against every instinct a hungry man owns. Your body is howling to fill itself, and I am telling you that stuffing yourself with lean meat in that state will kill you faster than going a little hungry. Better to go into the cold with an empty gut than to load it up with the one thing that poisons you the more you eat it. A man half-starved on nothing at all will outlast a man gorged full on lean rabbit. Do less of the thing, not more. That is the layer that saves the ones who listen. Now circle back to what I told you to hold on to. That man dying of thirst with a belly full of clean water. Here is how it works, and I will tell it to you in the language of the body, not the language of a doctor. When you eat lean meat and nothing else, your body has to break it down. And the breaking down of it makes a kind of waste inside you. Normally that waste flushes out and gives you no trouble. But there is a ceiling to how much of it your body can pass in a day. A hard limit it cannot climb over, no matter how hard it strains. And lean meat makes more of that waste than a body can ever clear. So it backs up. It backs up inside you, where it was never meant to sit. And your blood goes foul with it, thick and wrong. Your kidneys can only pass so much, and to pass it, they need water, more and more water. And that is why the thirst comes on you like a madness, even with the stream running by. You drink, and it is never enough. Because your body is trying to flush a poison it cannot keep up with, and all the while it is starving, because that lean meat gave it almost nothing to burn. So the body, desperate now, turns on itself. It starts to burn its own fat, and when that is gone, it starts to eat its own muscle, tearing itself down just to keep you standing, which only makes more of the very waste that is drowning you. It is a wheel turning faster and faster the weaker you get. And so the plain flat truth of it is this. A man can drink all he wants and die of thirst, and eat all he wants and starve, all at the same time, on nothing but lean meat and clean water. That clawing, bottomless, frantic hunger the old accounts all describe, that feeling of never being full no matter how much a man ate, I want you to understand what it really was. It was not greed. It was not weakness. It was not some flaw of character in a man too soft for the country. It was the body doing the one thing it knows how to do. It was screaming a single word over and over, louder and louder, and the word was fat. The body knew exactly what it needed. It was begging for the thing the man kept throwing in the dirt. He heard the scream as hunger and answered it with more of the poison. But the body was never confused. It knew. It always knew. And here is the cruelest turn the country keeps for last. The season you need the fat the most is the exact season there is none to be found. In the killing time, when your own reserves are burned down to nothing, and you are leaning on the land to keep you alive, the land has nothing rich to give. The animals are as starved as you are, all bone and hide and lean, stringy muscle, not a spare ounce of fat on any of them. The one thing that would save you is the one thing the country has hidden away till spring. You need it most exactly when it is nowhere. That is not bad luck, and it is not an accident. That is the country putting you to the test. Now let me tell you why nobody ever told you this, because it is quieter and truer than any tale of some plot against you. It comes down to money, and it comes down to time. A piece of survival wisdom only stays alive as long as folks actually need it, day to day, hand to mouth. The moment a man does not need to know a thing to live, that thing starts to die inside of one short generation. And I can near enough name the day this knowing began to go into the ground. It was the day the road reached the valley. It was the day the store swung its doors open at the crossroads. It was the day a man could walk in with a few coins and walk out with his food in a sack, instead of taking it off the land with his own two hands. The day he could buy the thing instead of making it. He stopped needing to know where the life in it truly was. And what a man does not need to know, he forgets. And what one man forgets, he cannot teach his son. So it slipped away, quiet as snow filling in a track, till hardly a soul was left who carried it. But it did not just get forgotten. Here is the part that ought to make you sit up. The modern trade took that old truth, the truth that fat is the fuel and the life of the thing, and it turned it clean upside down and sold it right back to you. It took the fat, the very treasure, and taught you to fear it, to trim it away, to feel virtuous throwing it out. It stamped a word on the lean part like a badge of honor, called it clean, called it lean like leanness was a thing to be proud of, and got you to pay good money for the poorest part of the animal, while you scrape the best part in the bin. There is no money in the truth here, and there is a fortune in the opposite. Nobody can sell you a thing you already know how to get for free off the land, but they can surely sell you the lie dressed up as wisdom. Now understand me, this is not some dark plot with men in a room scheming against you. It is just the quiet arithmetic of what sells and what does not. The truth was free, and the lie had a price tag, and the price tag won. Let me be straight with you now, the way I would want a man to be straight with me, because I would rather you trust me than be impressed by me. This thing I have described, It is not likely to come for most of you. If you are sitting warm with a full pantry and a store down the road, you will very likely never once meet the trap I am telling you about. It only truly comes for a man under a hard set of conditions, all lined up at once. It comes when you are living off the land and nothing else, in the lean, cold season, with no fat to be had and no store to save you, week after week, till your own body has nothing left in reserve. That is a narrow set of doors to walk through, and most folks never walk through even one of them. So you might be thinking this will never be you, but hear me close on this. Every single man it ever came for thought that exact same thing. Every one of them was sure it was somebody else's worry, right up until the day the country closed the doors behind him one at a time, and he found himself eating lean rabbit by a clear, cold stream, feeling stronger for a day and weaker for a week, and never once seeing the hand that had him. It does not come for the man who fears it. It comes for the man who is sure. Now, I told you I would give you proof, because you should not take a thing like this on my word alone. There was a booklet the United States Army put together back in the years around the Second World War. A survival guide meant for men who might go down in wild and empty places and have to live off what they found. And in it, plain as day, was the warning about lean meat, the caution that a man trying to live on lean flesh alone would sicken and fail no matter how much of it he ate. That was no old wives' tale by then. It was written down hard for fighting men to carry. And there was an explorer, a man by the name of Vilhjalmur Stefansson, who spent years in the far north living the way the old northern peoples lived, off the fat of the land in the truest sense. He proved it on his own body, under watching eyes, that a man thrives on fat and meat together and falls apart fast on lean meat by itself. He went hungry and hollow when they fed him only the lean, and he came right again the moment they gave him back the fat. And there were accounts long before him of parties in the far country wasting away with their kills hung full on the rack, growing weaker at every lean meal, till the ones who lived were the ones who learned to eat the fat and the marrow and the organs like the native folk did. Those men ate the parts the others scorned, and they walked out alive. That is no legend. That happened. So here is what you carry out of all this. 5 things, plain enough to keep in your head with no paper at all. Never lean on lean meat alone, because it will starve you and poison you at the very same time. Take the fat first off any animal you kill, and guard it like it is your own life, because it is. Crack the bones for the marrow, and eat the organs before you ever bother with the pretty red muscle. When there is no fat to be had, eat less of the lean, not more, and let a little hunger be your friend. And never, ever trust a full belly or a full canteen to tell you that you are safe. Keep those 5, and you will not die the way those men died. Now hear the real lesson in all of it, because it is bigger than fat and lean and water. Those men did not die because the country was cruel to them. The country was only ever just the country, no more spiteful than the snow that falls or the wind that blows. It does not hate you, and it does not love you. Those men died because they were certain they knew what food was, certain a full belly meant a safe man, certain that clean, clear water could only ever save and never kill. The wilderness never takes the humble man half so fast as it takes the sure one, 'cause the humble man keeps looking and keeps learning and keeps asking what he might have wrong, and the sure man walks straight off the edge with his chin up. So carry the whole of it small and light. The lean is the lie, and the fat is the fuel. The treasure is in the parts you were taught to throw away, and a full belly can be the emptiest thing there is. It weighs nothing and it costs nothing, free as the snow on the ground. This knowing very nearly went into the cold ground with the last of the old hands who carried it, and I will not stand by and watch it go. Now I want to hear from you. What did your own grandmother or grandfather keep or eat or do that folks today would call strange or backward? Some old habit of the kitchen or the hunt that never made sense to you till maybe just now. Tell me about it, because that is how this stays alive. And next time, I will hand you another one that runs dead against everything you think you know. That the driest, warmest looking wood in the whole forest is the very wood most likely to leave you shivering in the dark. Take care of your fire tonight, and do not you ever trust a clear, cold drink and a full belly to tell you the truth about staying alive.